What were the conditions of your last breakup? Actually, never mind. That's a really bad question. I thought about it for 10
Don't say
seconds.
this one's for you. What about you? What are the conditions? How about you start us off there, hot shot?
Sure, I will. It was my high school sweetheart who I dated for like 5-6 years, and we were very in love in high school. I thought we were going to get married, and then I didn't end up going to college, and I moved to be a streamer and moved to Austin, and he went to college to study to be a doctor. And then like as the years passed, we just didn't have that much common, and I realized like we're not the kids we were in high school, and that it wasn't meant to be anymore. And yep.
Maybe that was just chapter 1.
What does that mean?
Oh.
You reconnect with them?
Yeah.
Maybe in chapter 5, you guys are...
I had random dreams about them, but I was not attracted to them at all last time I saw them, so it was weird. And then my mom kept telling me that I'm never going to find anyone, and she hangs out with his mom and his aunts all the time.
And on our fridge, she only has 2 photos. One is her dead mom, our grandma, and the other is Andrea's
my ex
first
from
boyfriend.
high school. So she's like hanging on with the dream that I'm
For
going to
dear
move
life.
home. She thinks I'm going to live in my childhood bedroom and be with him again, even though like we have not talked in years, and I also not really attracted to him at all anymore. But I did have dreams about him, which was weird.
What was the dream?
I think I was just maybe homesick because it was more about being in home. But I remember he was in my dream, and I was confused.
Do you miss the fragrance of his presence?
No.
I wouldn't say, because I haven't like fully dated someone since a long time. My last like cut off, I just kind of got too busy, and life got kind of sad, and then my brain got kind of sad, and then I couldn't fulfill happiness for me or anyone else.
Do you think when you're in a better state of mind, you'll reach back out to that person?
It depends if the gun. What about you guys? What about you, Alex?
Well, I got out of a really long relationship at the start of this year, and we're currently in no contact, but we're still friends.
Good.
You are not friends. If I see that man, gutted. No.
With the toy knife.
Absolutely
So
not.
I got invited to this super sick event
get
in
so mad when I
Miami at
hear
the
about
end of the month, and I've been so excited to go, but he's going to go,
Wait.
so I think I'm going to cancel because
I want to tell them.
No, you got to live your own life.
She had nightmares about it, and he is still trying to F, and I
No,
hate him.
I
I told her
wouldn't
she
say
can go
that.
with a bodyguard. He is. I
What if you're the
cannot like a
bodyguard?
book. I told her I would go, but first of all, the event is Hereticon, which I don't know if you guys know what Hereticon is, but it's exactly what it sounds like.
What does it sound like?
Can you read them? Read them okay, pull out the opening.
am I going to get canceled
No,
for
no,
this?
no.
Don't worry, you've already talked about bestiality and pedophilia.
I mean, I think it's on par with Ayla game. Like, it doesn't get worse than Ayla, so.
Okay, so let me just pull it up. And read
Hereticon
it.
is great. I actually think you would love it.
Let me hear what this is first before I know if I should punch you.
Okay, let me try to summarize it. This is the greatest invite I've ever received in terms of how well it's written. I'm going to try to summarize it.
No, just
Hereticon is a conference for thought crime. Our thinking was simple. Dissent is worth protecting. Most new ideas are wrong or useless. Some are even dangerous. But from science and technology to business and faith, progress is a history of persecuted weirdos. So that is where we stand, and that is where we celebrate. No conversation is off limits. And then let me continue. Let me just scroll down to the last of it.
I'm a rat, right?
Yeah. Okay. The last part just goes, maybe if you aren't trying to destroy the world, you aren't trying hard enough.
I like that
Just
part.
a thought. Come agree and disagree and share your own.
So what's the conference about?
Yeah, what are you
It's basically
doing
just
there?
people sharing radical ideas, and you could talk about anything you want, and it's just supposed to promote discourse.
You should
Oh,
bring
nice.
the bestiality
It's an
question.
ISIS recruitment camp.
The girl who wrote these questions would probably be
She
there.
would probably be there. I actually played this
That's the
game
whole
with
point.
the woman who created it for the first time.
No way.
She's very
She's
interesting.
really dope.
She's very
I should have
autistic.
her on.
Well, I do want to hear more questions, but while we're on kind of the dating trend, did you want to pull up some of the Reddit things that you have?
So these are dating horror stories. Ooh. Okay. So I was raised in a religious house. I'm no longer religious, but because of this, sex was a no-no situation, and that included masturbation. I admit I tried a few times as a teen, but nothing came of it. No orgasm or anything. I met my husband, and after leaving home, we waited for marriage to have sex. When we did start having sex, my husband always told me he loved the way I orgasmed on him. I didn't feel much different, so I asked him about it, and he said I would squeeze harder down there when it happened. I told him I didn't notice it much, and he told me that everyone always hyped up orgasming. I went to my OB recently for other issues, and he noticed some sensitivity I had down there, and he started asking me about if it affected my sex life. I explained what my husband told me and how I had not noticed it much. He was quiet for a minute and then asked me some more questions if I masturbated, and I told him how I tried, but it never went anywhere for me.
Is Alyssa just horny? Like, what are...
Is this your diary entry?
He left the room, and a female nurse came in to talk to me. She started explaining things about the nerves in the vagina and how female orgasms work. She told me to go home and try a few things. So I hesitated, but a week later in the week, my husband had to work late, and I used that time to try some stuff. It worked, and I had my first real orgasm. I admit I was so excited I did it a few more times to be sure I wasn't just making it up in my head.
Hell yeah, girl.
I waited until the next time my husband asked for sex to show him, and he asked me where I learned this. I explained my doctor visit, and he got really angry. He said I already orgasmed during sex, even though I don't feel it, and that I should be happy with it.
That's such a guy response.
You've been orgasmed so good for so long. And they've
God.
been way better.
I told him that it wasn't difficult to try this one extra thing during sex, and I didn't see the problem because we both orgasm in the end. He said he didn't want to be bothered with it, and that if I was going to insist, we shouldn't have sex anymore. I agreed and told him we would wait until he came to his senses and realized that it was not a difficult ask. He said if we weren't having sex anymore that we should just divorce and he could find someone else. I told him good luck because with a dead sex life, failed 10-year marriage, and 2 kids baggage, he won't have many options. Am I the asshole for this?
Nah, go off,
I would
queen.
throw that man into the ocean.
And then, but that's where you want to
Yeah, that's
be
where you-
with
No,
him
no,
anyway.
no. But to the big white shark.
There's a lot of
Leave him
uses
there.
for the ocean. You can
Yeah,
either
you-
find love or you can kill love.
Exactly.
Let's call back
You
to our
can get
last
away
episode
with
if you
whatever
didn't know.
like. What a bastard. I hate him. Give us dating advice.
So this is the thing. A lot of people go in for the physical initially when you really need to find the intellectual, emotional connection of conversation. Because the thing is about the physical nature is you get that high dopamine or being with another human sexually,
It's not going to go well.
but you don't have a life partner. So when you're out there, don't look to just put poles in holes. Get to know somebody's brain.